what I guess I'm kind of envisioning is that we would set up the committee where they would at least have all the parties meet together before our next board meeting to kind of talk about the parameters, the issues, if there's anything that can be done to reduce the costs for the school, and then present that as a board at the next meeting. I don't expect the work to get done in the next month, but at least have met, have everyone at the table, and then see where we would go from there. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts? Please. I put a lot of thought into this over the summer about the best way of tackling this issue. I think that if everyone came together and kind of negotiated in good faith, we could at least talk about it. I realize that it is a legal contract and there's no reason why it has to be changed, but I'm kind of hoping that if we point out some of the issues that the school might not be viable in 5 years because of how high our costs are, that at least the parties would be willing to discuss the issue. And we could see what room there would be. If we can't do anything about it now, what we can do about it in the future.
I would just add to keep in mind that this school is built for 500 students. This is a startup school in its second year. So until we start to get our enrollment up, the lease is going to be a substantial cost. And so we have to figure out, one, how do we increase the enrollment? I mean, this school is 400, 450 kids. The least amount of kids we ever had at one time was like 350.
My concern with that, and this is something I think is probably better discussed in a small committee rather than the board as a whole at this point because we don't have this information, but that our break-even number is so high to actual full enrollment of the school, which is kind of an unusual structure as far as I've come across in my research, which is very limited. That's why I think at least needs to be explored. Perhaps they would be interested in kind of working with us in a structure where, if we have 250 students, we pay this amount, kind of understanding that we have requirements with the state and have a sliding scale. Maybe that's possible, maybe that's not. I don't really know yet, but that's why I want to form the committee, so we can discuss it to figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's a responsible thing for us to do as a board. I mean, we can't have this elephant in the room that's sitting there and we're just ignoring it. I mean, at the end of the day, $700,000 a year, a budget of, I don't know, $2 million or whatever our budget number is. I mean, it's pretty substantial. How do you look at that? There's no other business I would look at my rent expenses and say, oh, okay, well, it is what it is. I go back to the landlord and say, hey, can we talk about this?
Yeah.
And we as a board need to at least bring the subject up. We can't act like we
Can I make a comment along Jennifer's lines, just to keep in mind until the very first meeting? You are aware that Imagine absorbs all of the excess costs. They do not make you sign notes or pay anything back. So obviously you're paying more than the difference between the lease and your costs, and that's all just being absorbed.
That's why I think it'd be great if they would be part of this committee as well, because I think they obviously have a vested interest. Yeah, they have a vested interest in saving themselves some money.
Yeah, and
but see, that's a long-term lease. There's a REIT. You just signed a subordination, a term agreement. Those are all long-term things. There's an owner out there that neither Imagine nor School House Finance can control and negotiate the change. So in the interim, I just want you to remember and be comforted. All excess costs are absorbed and they're not charged to you. And whatever deficit is shown for you is extremely minor in comparison to what it really costs to run it. So I just want you to not just get so miserable between now and your committee meeting, and I love about it, but you don't put it in perspective. The commitment to the building is a long-term commitment in the future of the school.
Yes, that's not what I'm being told. And I say that respectfully.
Sure.
I mean, because as a principal, I'm getting an enormous amount of pressure to, you can't keep sustaining this loss. They're going to close if you don't get 350, 400 kids. That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody and also get test scores up.
Right. There's not a school, a community school out there that's not in dire competition for students, as well as districts.
Right.
It's just a fact of life.
But who has told you that the school closes and don't get 350 kids? Karen Shepherd?
Yeah, she had a conversation with me. If you want to know, I'll just be.
Well, aside from all of that, I think these are all valid points, which is why I think we need the committee. I think that we should have a group of people sit around a table like this and spend 3 hours hashing through all of that rather than an hour that we reserve once a month for this kind of conversation. Well, I really appreciate that Imagine does refund us the cost. They don't have to, and I think that in order to be responsible to our sponsor, we need to
They don't
be,
refund.
well,
They absorb.
absorb. In order to be responsible to our sponsor, we need to at least be trying to do something, not just sitting around here saying our costs are too high, our costs are too high. At least be trying to do something about it. So that is my idea. My original thought was to have one board member on the committee, but I feel like whoever wants to be on the committee, I'm not going to be on the committee, just so you know. I'm gonna put someone else to take the lead on this. Okay.
I would like to be on the committee. And I have,
Motion for a resolution to approve this committee with 2 board members, representative from the sponsor, representative from school finance, with the 4 possible dates of the first meeting, and date to be picked and announced to us, and then properly made public by Leon, once you guys have talked to all the parties that need to be at this meeting. Does that sound okay to you?
yes.
All right.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, committee has been approved. I'm excited. Apparently I'm the only one. I think this will be good. I think this will be really good. Open up some dialogue, see what we can do, try to get some more money for our teacher salaries. Since we have no old business, is there anything else?
And our salaries are low. I had a teacher tell me today she has to go to the food pantry. I mean, that's just a fact. Can't pay the utilities.
Tim, we're gonna try and see what we can do. And thank you very much, and you've done a really good job so far. And also, I think that it's not just the salary, but I think bringing the teachers to these meetings and having more of a dialogue and making sure that they feel like they're very invested in the school and are able to talk to the board members and the sponsor and all that will help, because I think people, while salary matters, I think people, what's most important is they need to like their workplace. So, we have good kids, and we have good teams, so I feel like if everyone feels like we care about each other, they'll want to stay. And we'll see what we can do about the rest of it. All right, I didn't have a second to close this meeting.